Reasons why 31 million Africans are migrants. Hello friends, welcome to World Immigration Info Channel. On this channel, we bring to you updated information on migration issues around the world. If you are a migrant or have migrants' friends and families interested in knowing what is happening around immigration in the United States, Europe, Africa, and the rest of the world, please subscribe to this channel right now and hit the notification icon so that you will be notified on all of our new publications. Our today's video takes us to why 31 million Africans are migrants. Stay tuned and watch till the end. Africa has been aptly described as a continent on the move. Africa today experiences all migratory configurations within and outside the continent, but the most visible are labor migration, refugee flows, and internal displacement. Over 31 million Africans live outside the country of their birth, the majority within the African continent. In fact, the majority of migration is intra-regional or intra-African, especially in West and Southern Africa, and only about 25% of African migrants go to Europe. Although migration data is fragmentary, fluid, and often imprecise, it is estimated that African migrants are overwhelmingly located within the 8 sub-regional economic communities in Africa: 80% in the West, 65% in the South, 50% in Central Africa, and 47% in Eastern Africa. The exception in Northern Africa, where about 90% of its emigrants move to other localities outside Africa. Of the number of migrants on the move in Africa, the majority of them are young people. Africa's population is young, with 20% between age 15 and 24, and they constitute 54% of the total labor force. By 2050, 25%, 1 in every 4, of people of working age in the world will be African. However, the rapid growth of the labor force, coupled with sluggish growth of employment, creates the trigger for the youth migration, both for the skilled and the less skilled. While over 100 million jobs are needed for the youths that joined the labor force in the last 10 years, the continent was able to barely create remunerative jobs for 37 million. Poor quality education and a lack of skills limit employment opportunities for young people. There is additionally a mismatch between skills and jobs because technical and vocational education and training has been neglected for a long time. At the moment, youth unemployment is a whopping 50% in some countries, and currently the majority of Africa's labor force work in agriculture, the least productive sector. Consequently, poverty, poor governance, recurrent internal instability, mismanaged economies, and conflicts have generated so-called economic migrants and refugees and severely eroded the developmental progress of recent years. Africa's impressive economic growth over the last decade has failed to significantly stimulate employment. Africa's jobless growth implies that more jobless Africans are forced into unsafe, irregular channels of migration to rich countries, with all the harmful effects that this entails. Indeed, access to gainful employment is a major developmental challenge for governments and societies in Africa today. Although Africa is a region of diverse migration circuits, as origin, destination, and transit for labor migrants, undocumented migrants, refugees, and circulation of professionals, these migrations take place predominantly within the region and are essentially South-South movement. While increasingly a global phenomenon, migration in Africa and refugee flows, displaced population, labor migration, is essentially intra-regional and should be addressed within a regional framework. The refugee map in Africa is fluid and unpredictable. According to the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, Sub-Saharan Africa hosts more than 26%, over 18 million of the world's refugees. The number of refugees has soared over the years. The triggers include conflicts, civil unrest, environmental disasters, oppressive regimes, and concomitant abuse of human rights. While old causes of refugee flows abate, new ones have emerged to aggravate the complexities and the search for durable situations. The countries with the highest refugee burdens are Ethiopia, with a total of 659,000, Kenya, 551,000, Chad, 453,000, Uganda, 386,000, Cameroon, 264,000, and South Sudan, 248,000. The situation in Kenya caught world attention when the government gave notice of its desire to close the Dadaab camp, the largest refugee camp in the world, which it accused of harboring Islamic fundamental fighters who murdered about 147 students in neighboring Garissa University in April 2015. In South Sudan, the international donor community seems to be weary of assisting refugees as a result of the post-independence confrontations between local leaders. Internal displacements are rooted in the same causes as refugee flows, except that affected persons remain within national borders. The major causes include interethnic and interreligious conflicts and communal land disputes, which are aggravated by environmental disasters including flooding, soil erosion, and droughts. Globally, Africa has the largest number of internally displaced persons, abbreviated IDPs, who outnumber refugees 5 to 1. For instance, at the end of 2013, there were 12.5 million IDPs in the 21 sub-Saharan countries that the Internal Displacement Monitoring Center monitors, a figure more than a third of the global total. Significantly, Nigeria, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Cameroon, and Sudan had the largest population of IDPs in Africa. In 2014, Nigeria topped African countries with 3.3 million IDPs, about a third of IDPs in Africa and 10% of global IDPs, aggravated largely by the Boko Haram. The challenge of insurgency still persists in Mali, Nigeria, Kenya, Somalia, and neighboring countries in Western Africa and Eastern Africa. The promise to root out Boko Haram by December 2015 was not achieved. Though weakened, the sect continues to kill, maim, and displace populations not only in Nigeria, but also in neighboring Cameroon and Chad. One consequence is the likely increase in the number of internally displaced persons and a strain on infrastructure to provide for the needs of vulnerable groups, especially women and children. Dear friends, permit us to end here, and when we come back, we will update more on the role that of African politicians and the West are playing to influence this situation that underpins the development and advancement of the Africa, the richest continent in the world. Please don't go away without subscribing, and when you do so, hit the notification icon in order not to miss out when we publish new updates. Also do like, share, and give us your takes for educational purposes. Thank you for watching, and see you soon for another episode.